Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Cool Chords. This week we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite Radiohead songs entitled Knives Out. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so what's going on in this progression is we basically have two different key centers that we're going between. We start in C minor and then we go to G minor, and when we get to the G minor part, there's one really unique chord that kind of stands out to me, and we'll get to that in a sec, but we're going to start with the C minor part. So we want to get all the notes so that they ring together. So what I'm doing is I have my C note on the 8th fret of the 6th string with my middle finger. Then I put my ring finger on the E flat on the 3rd string, and then pinky goes to the G note on the 2nd string. So 8-8-8 fret-wise. So the pattern for that, you do the bottom note, then you do the second or middle note, if you want to call it, middle note twice, top note twice, and then middle note once. So we have, all right, so in the key of C minor, that would be our 1 chord. Now we go to the 7 chord, which is a B flat chord. He puts the 6 on top of this one. So what I'm doing movement-wise from the 1st chord to this is keep your pinky the same, take your ring finger, just slide it down 1 fret from 8 to 7, and then your pointer finger goes to the 6th fret on the 6th string. So this is our B flat 6 chord. And we do the same pattern as the 1st chord. So we have... Okay, and then we go to our 6th chord, which is A flat major 7. So the fingering for that chord, pointer finger on A flat, your 4th fret, skip a string, put your ring finger on G, pinky on C, and then middle finger on 4, on the E flat, 4th fret E flat note. And this, so now we have. Then when you get here, you start with the same pattern. In this case, you do the 6th string, 3rd string twice. Yeah, 3rd string twice. 2nd string twice, 3rd string once. All right, and then it continues. It's actually a 5-bar phrase, which is really interesting. So what we do is we do the bottom note, and then the 4th string twice, 3rd string twice, 4th string once, and then you jump up to the 2nd string. So now part of that pattern we have. And then it ends with this. So that right there, you do the bottom note, and then 4th string, 3rd string, 4th string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string. So that's our C minor section. Like I was saying, that's a 5-bar phrase. That means there's 5 bars altogether. Normally 4 is typical, so that's another thing that makes this progression cool. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5-bar phrase, really interesting. And as you can hear, this progression is a little bit more common to stuff that we're normally used to hearing, right? The 6 or the 1-7-6 progression in minor. And the vocal melody is lining that out perfectly. I want you to know. So once we get to the G minor part, then it gets a little bit more kind of outside of the box. So you can argue that this G minor chord is still technically part of C minor, but when I hear the direction of this progression and where it's going, it definitely seems to me to be much more centered around the key of G minor as opposed to C minor. And so what happens now, we get to G minor, we do that same 1st chord, right? But now we're doing it on G. So it's the same exact fingering, middle finger, skip 2 strings, put your ring finger on B flat, pinky on D, and you do same pattern, bottom note, middle note twice, top note twice, and then middle note once. So now I would think this is the 1 chord in G minor, and then we go to the F6 chord. So that's pointer finger on F, ring finger jumps up to A, pinky on D. Okay, so these first 2 chords, right, it sounds just the same as the C minor to B flat part, right, just in the key of G minor now. Now this 3rd chord is really what makes it unique. We have this E minor 6 chord. This specific note right here, this C sharp note, that really makes it different, because typically if you're doing a progression like this, you would normally think of it going right, E minor 7 flat 5 with the D note still on top. And I think they do something like that in Paranoid Android. I'm not sure the specific part, right? It's something like that chord right there, right? Same idea, G minor, but I think they do like an ascending thing in between. But then it goes to that E minor 7 flat 5. So if we did the chord from Knives Out, it would be like this. Sorry, I screwed that up. Right, much different. That one note really makes a huge difference in the sound. And like I said with the beginning part, with the vocal melody, he's outlining these notes perfectly, because the first part is one, and then he goes, not coming back. Right, so he hits that note. So him doing that in the vocal melody really helps to get this, unique sounding progression to really pop. So what's going on when we get to that chord? We have the G minor, the F6. Now right here it starts with open E and then open G string twice, and then open high E, and then I go like this. I put my ring finger on D on the 2nd string and I slide it down a fret. So okay, so that's that 6, that E minor 6 that I'm talking about right there. And then I keep that down. I put my middle finger on the 2nd fret of your 4th string E note, and then I jump to the 6th string, and then 3rd string, so. And then 4th string, 6th string, 4th string. So the first pattern. Okay, and then that's the first part. Now the second part is open 6th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 1st string, and then that, I'm sorry. I think at that part, the second part, I don't move this at all. I go like this. And then I have to get the D note on my 2nd string, so I use my pinky because my ring finger's already down. Then I just take it off and my ring finger's right there in the C sharp. Okay, and then 4th string, 6th string, 3rd string, and then 4th string, 6th string. Okay, so a lot going on there. I'm going to do that entire chord part really slow. Okay, one more time. So as far as theory goes, in that part, that specific chord, I'm not exactly sure what he's thinking there, because we have G minor, and then we go to an F6, and then, like I said, normally it would be E minor 7 flat 5, but he's switching it to E minor 6, right? Even with the natural 5, right? I'm sorry, is there a natural 5? There's really no 5, so it could be E diminished, I guess, technically too, E diminished 7 or E minor 6. I'm just calling it minor 6 because there's no 5, so it's not, very clearly defined. But I think just probably what's going on there is he, when they were coming up with the melody or something like that, he probably just liked the sound of that movement from that little D to C sharp, and just tried to find a chord that really kind of articulated that sound, and maybe that E minor 6 was the best option, because like I said, normally we could see that with the minor 7 flat 5, but maybe just by making that one little change, making it minor 6, can still capture that kind of that essence of that vocal melody in a nice progression. So that's a really cool sound, a really cool trick that you can mess around with if you want. And yeah, so like I said, what's going on here? We have start in C minor, we do the 1 chord, 6 chord, 1 chord, 7 chord, 6 chord, then we switch to G minor. G minor, we have the 1 chord, the 7 chord, and then kind of like the 6 minor 6, I guess you would call it. Really interesting sound. And it's amazing too how this chord can go right back into C minor, which is a completely different, unrelated key, because when you're thinking about that C sharp note, right, that's a half step above C, right? So it's kind of, it's surprising that it works getting back into that, but an amazing progression, one of my favorite Radiohead songs. And yeah, let me play through it one time. Okay, so that's our progression for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to check out the other episodes if you haven't already. I got the link in the description for all of them. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys at the next video. Take care.